So that leads us on to probably the most interesting auction, I think, of the year on the 29th of October. Now, Mark, you looked at this. This was going to be Aston's last ever auction, which I think the sellers could have done better, although they did really well. But the items for sale had quite an interesting backstory on this sale, didn't they?
Yeah, this was, like you say, this was the most interesting auction of the year by a country mile, in terms of the find and in terms of what was found. Just incredible. And it goes to prove that this stuff is still out there, and not just in small quantities. Garage houses full of this stuff, and it's just amazing. Even now, even today, we're coming across these finds, and it's so exciting. And like I say, this one was the auction which was most interesting for several factors. Like I say, the way that this came about was this chap in Stourbridge in the Midlands died, and by all accounts he didn't have any family, so he left his house and contents to his elderly neighbours. And they originally thought, oh, he's got a garage full of stuff, he's got a house full of stuff, we'll just hire some skips and we'll skip it and we'll sell the house. That's where the real money is. Absolutely wrong. The contents of the house, specifically his collection of toys, which he'd clearly hoarded. He certainly didn't come across as a collector in the same way that you or us are collectors. You know, we condition displays, online presents, going out there to toy fairs and buying and known in the community. He looked like a bit of a hoarder because the condition of some of the boxes, it was basically the carded figures were literally stuffed in bin liners and put into a garage. The condition of some of the boxes was absolutely atrocious, and we'll get to those in a minute. But he left his entire house and contents to this old couple he lived next door to, and they, I think, realised something like £400,000 just on the sale of this auction of science fiction toys, basically, and other toys besides. But, and here's the big but, and this is why this auction is interesting, they could have made awful lot more had they done just a tiny bit more homework and not used Aston's, because I think Aston's did them a disservice. They could quite easily have had this auction over 2 days, had 2 or 3 experts go in and pull out some of the standout items and sell those individually. There was several lots in this auction that should have been sold piecemeal. They shouldn't have been grouped together, and I'll get onto that in a minute. They could have raised an awful lot more money had Aston's done a bit more homework. And this felt very much like a smash and grab type auction. It was Aston's last. And if you look at some of the terms and conditions, it was payment by debit card only upon completion of the auction. You couldn't attend the auction in person. It was only online. You couldn't even phone a bid through. It was only online. You had to arrange your own courier, and it stipulated that once these items had sold, that was it. You were left with it. And believe you me, I strongly believe a lot of people would have bought these items, not being able to check them over, although they did have, they were allowed to go and view these items at the auction at a prearranged time and date. But if you were unable to do that, then you were basically going off photographs. I would imagine there'd be a lot of people out there who would be upset with some of the condition that these items came back in, because I know a few people that went along to the viewing days and said, you know, be careful. If you're bidding on this, be careful. It's got this condition, it's got that condition, there's a split on that bubble, it's lifting on that side. So if you were going to put down a chunk of money on anything, you better make sure you're going to do your homework, specifically for this auction. So yeah, I going back to the seller, yes, it was a lot of money, but they could have made a substantial amount more if this auction had been done over 2 or 3 days and the lots had been separated out by somebody who knew what they were talking about and could identify pieces that there would have been more of a fight over if they were just the one item. So the star of the show that everybody was sort of amazed by was just one of the vinyl cape Jawas on a Palatoy card. That realised 22,000 plus 30% fees. That was the other thing, 30% fees. And there was a 3% online charge included in that, which to me, when you're not given an option on how to bid, either in person or on the phone, you're only given the option to bid online. To say then that you are going to be charged 3% on top of your fees for bidding online, I think is outrageous. Absolutely outrageous, so unfair. And when you're spending £22,000, 3% is an awful lot of money. The vinyl cape Jawa on a Palatoy card, that was £28,600 with the fees, which crazy. Still only, is it single figures that item still exists in? I don't think it's, is it 8 or 10 of those known to exist in collections? There was also one with a nameplate cut. That realised, and that was with another cloth cape Palatoy Jawa with the nameplate cut, and both had Hamley's price stickers labels, which had quite a nice touch. They should definitely stay together, I think, and I know the person who bought these, and £8,800 plus fees. So you're looking at just over £11,000 for those two figures with cut nameplates. 30 back Death Squad Commander, which we mentioned earlier in the podcast, and that lot included a Palatoy Imperial Commander 30 back, a 41 back AT-AT Driver Palatoy, a Kenner Yoda, and a 30 back Palatoy IG-88. That lot of 5 figures sold for £25,000 plus 30% fees, £32,500, with the fees. And yeah, obviously the star of the show there was the 30 back Death Squad Commander, which again exists in single figures, known single figures. There was a lot with a Palatoy 41 back Tusken Raider. 6 figures in this lot, £8,200 plus fees, so just over £10,500 for that lot. And in that lot, there was a Palatoy 30 back Rebel Commander, a Kenner Hoth Stormtrooper, a Kenner Bespin Guard, Palatoy 30 back Ugnaught, which is quite nice, but I think that one had condition issues, and a Palatoy 30 back Lobot, which not exactly the hardest figure or most sought after. So an awful lot of money. And get this, the guy who bought that lot wasn't after the 41 back Tusken Raider, because that sold on eBay a couple of weeks later for £4,200. Whatever he was after, it wasn't the Tusken Raider. And to me, that was the money in the lot. Again, this goes back to what I was saying about if they'd have separated these items out, it would have made a lot more money. The one piece that one of the pieces that I really would have liked to have owned and come away with and put several bids in was the Palatoy Probot set, because anyone out there that collects Palatoy items will know that a Palatoy Probot set in any decent box is absolute hen's teeth. You just never see them. Condition is always an issue. This was mint unused. The box was pin sharp, and there was 2 yellow Palatoy Cantina and Land of the Jawas figure stands taped to the insert of the set. I've never seen that. That was a very strange thing to see those figure stands taped to the insert of that set. It's bizarre. That went for £1,700 with the fees, but that included an unused Hoth Womper and open belly Tauntaun, Stuart, Tauntaun, not Town.
Mark, I think that also goes for the Palatoy Imperial Attack base that was for sale there, because those are notorious for having really bad boxes, and that one looks literally from the photos shop fresh.
Yeah, pin sharp. And it goes back to what I was saying earlier about unused stock Palatoy, Empire Star Wars era Palatoy stuff. You just never see it. It's so difficult to find. So it doesn't surprise me. I thought that Probot set would probably have gone for about $750 plus fees. So you're looking at about £1,000. But yeah, it was £1,700. It ended with fees. But it didn't surprise me, because that's the first one I've seen in that condition.
I thought this was the auction that had the really rare Palatoy Denga mailers as well.
Yes, it is. I'm going to get to those.
Sorry, mate.
In a minute. Just old horses. There was a lot with a Palatoy Death Star a US Kenner Death Star, and a Palatoy Star Destroyer. To me, I thought this was a good buy at $3,500 plus 30% fees. Took it up to $4,500. The Death Star, Palatoy Death Star. I mean, all three of these were unused. The Palatoy Death Star was gorgeous. There was a bit of warping on the box, but that could have been sorted out quite easily. Box was absolutely gorgeous. Contents, it's still in the bags.
Wow,
crazy. There were two lots in this that just left my head scratching completely. And the first one was the 25 assorted mini rigs and things like vehicle maintenance energizers and radar laser cannons and tripod laser cannons. There were unused contents, and there was 25 of them. Okay, so it was a nice big lot. There's 25 of them. They were unused, but they were opened. That lot went for £3,100 plus your 30% fees, which took it up to £4,000. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I do not see where the value is in that lot. How could that lot possibly have reached that amount of money? Absolutely madness. If you'd have pieced it out, you'd have. I don't think you'd have seen your money back. I just can't see it. Bizarre. And then the second lot, which again left my head scratching a bit, was 13 assorted vehicles. So there was 3 B-Wings, 2 Y-Wings, there was a Jedi box Falcon, a couple of TIE Interceptors, a few speeder bikes. These boxes were totaled. You could have maybe saved a couple of them, put them right, and they would have looked acceptable. There were unused contents, I'll give you that, but with the fees, and bear in mind, these boxes were completely knackered. With the fees, these 13 assorted vehicles, run-of-the-mill stuff, I could go on eBay right now and buy one, £6,000.
Yeah.
Who is buying this lot for £6,000?
Those boxes look like they've been stored in a jacuzzi.
It beggars belief. Who is just... I mean, I guess what somebody's going to do here is they're going to sell the boxes separately, do what they can to put them right, sell the boxes separately, and get the main parts to it, the figures, the ships, and whatever, get those graded. That's the only way I can see anybody turning any kind of profit. And even then, yeah. I just don't see it. I can't see how anybody would make any money on that lot. It's madness.
Even if you took the contents out and put them in really nice boxes, you're still far away from 6K.
If you went on eBay now and saw, say, that one of those B-Wings in that condition box, unused, you're probably looking at what, £250, £350 thereabouts.
Yeah.
So how'd you get to £6,000? Somebody's clearly seen something in that lot that is worth decent money. If anybody can tell me where the value is in that lot, please let me know, because I would love to know.
Mate, it's the Y-Wings. They both come with the bomb. That's what was missing.
Right, mate. I know who to sell complete box Y-Wings to from now on. Now, going back to what you were saying, Grant, about these. Now, this is what collecting's all about for me. Is when this auction was advertised and we had a look at what was in there, the star of the show for me, as far as I was concerned, was the 8 Palatoy boxed Dengar mailers. This had 3 mailers taped together with a Palatoy address label on. First time I've ever seen that. It was just incredible. And I looked and I thought, that's going to be a £5,000-6,000 lot all day long, because where'd you see it? Now, what happened was a group of collectors, and I'm not going to name any names here because I don't know all of the names, but I do know that there was a few of the guys that we know who all chipped in, got together a consortium, and they managed to win the lot. And everybody got what they wanted out of that lot. And as far as I'm concerned, that is how it's done. And I think they ended up paying about £650 each for whatever that's what it worked out at per figure and box. When you actually work it out, that's actually very cheap, considering I've seen them go for as much as £1,000 and plus.
That's a good deal.
So, and the people who wanted one got one, and that's the main thing to me.
Yeah.
This wasn't somebody that was going to get them graded and flip them and make a profit on it. These are going directly to people who had been chasing them, and that is fantastic. And I think the same went for the Palatoy Boba Fett mailers as well, which again, you do not see them. This guy had 5 of them. And I think this is why the nameplates were cut on some of the figures. Clearly he bought them, cut the nameplates off, sent them away because all the address labels were to the same guy. So he was the original person that sent away to Palatoy for these figures. So these must have been bought back in the day. This wasn't some guy that was going around buying old shop sockets. I'm sure he did, judging by the amount of stuff that he had. But even back in the day, he was buying them, sending off, cutting the nameplates out, having them Palatoy send them to him directly. So very, very interesting. Great stories behind some of these items. I'll just briefly mention some of the non-Star Wars lots were grouped together in just ridiculous groupings, clearly dealer lots. But even then, you know, they were selling for retail money. If you split them up, some of it was retail. I will say one of the Buck Rogers lots had the very rare Buck Rogers Flight Hanger play set by Mego. And what wasn't known at the time, one of the guys who went to the viewing days told me that they discovered inside the box of that play set, full set of carded Buck Rogers figures inside the box of the play set. How cool is it? You know, it goes back to what we were saying about, you know, they hadn't done the homework. They hadn't done the homework. And if they'd have known about that, they could have had that out and had that as a separate lot. Yeah, it was the last auction from Aston's, but it just felt very much like a smash and grab. And I think they did cost the seller some money, but it was a fantastic auction. Some great lots came up, and I do know that several people that I know personally came away with items that they really wanted. So in those terms, great, fantastic. Happy days.
Do you guys think that's one of the strongest auctions we've had in terms of quality of goods?
Easily.
It must be, wouldn't it?
One of the best finds. One of the best finds by far.